Hello and welcome back to the Artisfy Codecast. So we're going to continue where we left off last time, and that is writing the copy layout code. So the last time you'll remember we wrote all this code in about an hour and a half, and what we're doing here is checking for elements that are clicked on that have one of these data attributes on them. So either copy layout, copy position, or copy dimensions. And then from the source element, which is the event, the current target, so it's going to be the element with one of these data attributes on it, we're going to get the list of element layout data. So the list of element layout data is, what it does is it goes through all of the parsers that it has access to. So one parser for position, one parser for layout, and one parser for the dimensions. And then it's going to try to match the source element to the parser selector. And if it matches, it's going to parse that element's data out. And so this is going to return something like, let's go to our parser code, which is in here. And this is the most advanced one for the copy layout. So we'll paste that there. And so that's going to give us, for example, it might give us back an object like this. And then we're going to add on to that the copy method, which is the same as the parser name. So it's either, both, or it's position, or it's dimensions. And then we're also going to get the x offset and the y offset by turning the x offset or y offset value that we get back into an int. And there's something I am not considering here, which is that for parse copy dimensions attribute, we might not have an x offset or a y offset. So I need to say if x offset and then if y offset. Okay, and then we're going to push the element data into the parse data. So I just want to have an example. Oh, actually, I have that down here. So that's going to have all of this information plus the copy method, and the x offset and y offset are going to be numbers. And then so we're going to get the parse data back from this, and so it's going to have all this stuff. Some of it might be undefined. We have the source element offset data. So we'll say get the offset data for the source element so we can use it in both functions, i.e. copy dimensions and copy position, because we need this offset data no matter which direction we're going in. So if we're copying the dimensions, we're going to need it. If we're, because for the dimensions, we're going to need the width and the height that are going to be copied. And that's going to be in the offset data. And then, if we're copying the position, we're going to need the distance from the top of the screen and from the left of the screen, and or sorry, not the screen, but the page itself. So from the top of the page and from the left of the page. and that's going to be on the offset data too. And we might be copying both. Most likely, I think in a lot of cases actually we are copying both. So it's good to just have this offset data calculated beforehand. Then we're going to check to see if we're copying dimensions. If we don't have a dimensions target, set the target to the positions target because that's the default. And then copy the dimensions from the source element onto the dimensions target. So I think we just wrote this function, which is going to take the offset data. But we might need to finish this function actually. So it's going to take the offset data. It's going to take the target to copy the dimensions to, but the target is actually going to be I kind of want to rename this to be like target selector dimensions. Yeah, I think that's better. So let's look for this everywhere, and let's delete this, and then let's do the same thing with this. Just because we want to know that this is a selector. And yeah, we're going to rename this one too. Okay. So we want to know that that's a string and not like an actual element. And the string, the old name for this was kind of confusing. So yeah, we're going to have to rename this to. So here we have target selector position, and this one we have target selector dimensions. Okay, so into copy dimensions we're going to pass the offset data, and we're going to pass the so this now sounds like we're talking about yeah, that's not a great name either. Okay, sorry, we're going to do this again. Target selector dimensions. So that makes it sound like we're talking about a number or something, or like a width and a height. But where the value is actually a string. So I think what I can do is like so we want to say that it's the target element. So it's a selector string for the, so like if I was going to name this very verbosely but very exactly, it's the selector string for the 4 dimensions target. And I guess I could just say element, and we could cut out string selector for dimensions element. And we could just say like target. Okay, selector for dimensions target. It's a little bit verbose, but it's kind of nice. And then here we're going to say selector for position target. Okay, so now we've got that, and then we've got this one too. Okay, so yeah, I mean it's a little verbose, but at least we know what's happening, right? And it's pretty clear in the code what's happening. Okay, so now, we're going to copy the dimensions. We have the offset data. We have the selector for the dimensions element. and what the heck is this? Dimensions NA target. I think I messed this up because I was copying something else. Oh yeah, because I was renaming something else. Oh geez, yeah, I messed a lot of this stuff up. Okay, so let's make sure this is the only place that is. Okay, selector. I have no idea what this is supposed to be. Oh, this is just supposed to be dimensions, I think. Or no, that's supposed to be something else. Dimensions name. That's what that's supposed to be. Dimensions name. So if I go, so yeah, it's possible that I selected too many things in that renaming. I'm just gonna look over real quick. Yeah, okay, so that's fine. Okay, so copy dimensions using the offset data. We have the selector for the dimensions lm. Oh, jeez. Really? Selector. I don't know how I messed this up so bad. This is pretty bad. Okay. Let me just make sure that that's not anywhere else. Okay. Okay, so yeah, I'm actually gonna have to read through this again. Okay, so the source element offset data, we get this. We see if it's we're either copying the dimensions or both. This is the wrong one. I don't know how I messed that up so bad. Oh my god. Whew, okay, I'm just making like mistakes all over the place here. Okay, so let's just make sure that this is the one I'm using. Okay, so if there's no selector for the dimensions target, we want the selector for the dimensions target to be the selector for the position target, because that's the default. And then we want to copy the dimensions from the first element on to the dimensions target. And again, we have that. And we pass in the offset data. We pass in the dimensions name. The dimensions name is either going to be, I should have this somewhere. I guess I'll put it like here. It's not great to have it there, but this is going to be both, or width, or height. Okay. And I think, yeah, so I have the list of widgets and I have my thoughts about it. And I'm just going to copy these parameter details that we have into here. And and I'm gonna I don't know a better way to do this. Okay, so I just want to have like the name. Oh, I could have just selected that. Okay, so I want to have the name up here. Okay, and then we'll have like this, and then we'll put this in. Okay, so now we know like the full thing. So we're going to say that this is an example, or like specification for element with attribute. Okay. Okay. So we have the selector for position, we have the x offset, we have the y offset, we have the dimensions name, and we know that that's going to be height, width, or both. So we can delete that from here. Again, like this isn't the greatest. This is nowhere near the greatest documentation here. But it'll do. Okay, so, and then here we say, okay, is the copy method position or is the copy method both? If it's one of those, copy the position using the source element offset data, pass in the selector for the position target, which we're definitely going to have because that's the default one, and then pass in the x offset and the y offset. And copy position is the first one we do for some reason. So I think we should actually define it second because it's, in the flow of the code it's second. So we have the source element offset data, we have the selector for the position target, we have the offset defaulting to 0 and the y offset defaulting to 0. We define left and top from the source element offset data, and that's because if we go into DOM utilities and we get the element offset, we're going to get top, right, bottom, left, width, and height back, and the top is going to be relative to the page offset. So it's going to be the client rect top, which is inside of the screen that's currently visible on the page. This is going to be the distance that the element is from the top, and then we get the window page Y offset, and that is the screens, the currently visible screens distance from the top of the page. And so if we add the distance of the screen from the top of the page, and then the distance from that to the element, we're going to get its absolute position from the top of the page. And the same thing for the position to the left. And so that's going to be what allows us to set its absolute position. And then we have this cool little, addition where we can also, move it over a little to the left or a little to the right, depending on what we pass in for the x offset. And, from the top or the bottom, we can nudge it a little bit using the y offset. So we're going to add the x offset onto the left variable and the y offset onto the top variable, and then we're going to get all of the elements using the selector for the position target. And for each target element, we're going to set a new top position using target element.style.top equals top plus the number of pixels, and this top has been modified, and this left here has been modified. So that should work, and now we just need to do the copy dimensions one. So for copy dimensions, we have the source element, we have the selector for the dimensions target, and we have the dimensions name. And I want to go into the original copy position just to see how we're doing it. Oh yeah, we use copy attributes, which is in DOM utils. And this is actually something I can get rid of after I finish implementing this. So I think like here, get rid of that function, just so I remember to get rid of it. because we're pretty much rewriting it right now. So this is what I do for that. I loop through the target elements. I see if I should copy the width, and I see if I should copy the height. That's going to be a little bit different this way. Okay, so let's write it in documentation strings. So it's probably very similar to how we were doing it in this composition code. We know that we do want to copy the dimensions, so we don't need to do any check for like the source element or the selector. We're just going to assume those are going to be passed in. So we're going to say like loop through the target elements and then check if copying the width, and we'll just say like if copying the width, set a new width, and if copying the height, set a new height. Okay, so we're going to loop through the, and let's just paste this code that we have. So as like kind of, you know, a reference, because I don't know, this is pretty simple, right? But I like to copy and paste instead of write things out from scratch because spelling mistakes are one of the most common mistakes that I make. And they're the most annoying also. So we're going to loop through all of the target elements for this one. And we have the target element. And this is going to be the same. And then we'll get the height here. And I made a mistake. So this isn't going to be the source element. This is, yeah, so it's not a major mistake. So the source element offset data is going to have, I have to look at document again. So it's going to have top, right, bottom, left. So it's just width and height. So, what? Okay, I don't have that there. Okay, so I guess we'll say up here like get the new width and height data we want to set. We don't have to do it out here, but it's kind of nice to have simpler variables here. And also it mimics the way we're doing copy position. So if someone looks at this code and then they look at this code, they'll be like, oh, it's you know, it's basically doing it the same way. And that's kind of just a nice comfortable place to be if you're reviewing code later. Okay, so so here's the thing. So we only want to copy it if we're copying it. So we can check that by checking the dimensions name. So we want to say if dimensions name is equal to width, or it's equal to, and I think it's both is the other option. Okay. And then let's do that. And we have height and that. Okay. Now let's just make sure the dimensions name, I know we just checked it, but it's height or width or both. Okay, cool. So that we don't need anymore. And this looks good. We're copying the dimensions when appropriate, and we're copying the position whenever this is called. Okay, cool. So this should work. I think I might have one thing that's a little bit wrong. So if we go into here, export parse copy dimensions attributes was not found, and I think that's just a very simple error because we're not exporting these. Okay. Okay, and now we've got it. I think we're done writing the copy layout code. Let us send this into GitHub. So we'll say like finished copy position library. And now we want to test this. So yeah, I just want to write like a super simple test, probably just one test, because this is not anywhere nearly as complicated as the switch library. Yeah. So let's do copy position test.js, and we will import that here. And I just want to see, like, how did I do that with the switch? Huh, so that's weird. I'm importing the switch and I'm importing the switch test. But if I look at switch test, I'm also importing switch in there. So I don't think I need to import it both places. So I'm going to delete it from here. If it causes me trouble later, that sucks. But hopefully I just cleaned up the code. Okay, so here I want to do something similar, where in the main file I just want to import the test. And then in here I want to import the library. Okay, so now let's just like make sure this is firing. Yep, okay, awesome. So we want to write write a single copy layout test. Okay, so I'm going to take out that to-do for now, or like close that to-do file. I'll close this. I'll keep this. I don't need this anymore. I don't need this anymore. And hopefully I won't need that anymore. And hopefully I won't need that anymore. Okay, so now I have the test, and I want to go into this copy HTML file. And I want to have some CSS. So I want to go into the switch test and see how, I think it's in switch main actually. Okay, so this is how I'm importing the Sass. So if I go into here, I can say like copy position, and this shouldn't be called copy position anymore. It should be called copy layout, which is annoying because I hope there's not too many places I have to rename this. Okay. So let's see if there's anywhere else. Copy dash position. Okay. So it looks like it might be okay. Oh, geez. So that was saved, that was saved, and that was saved. Copy main, copy layout. So I think I have an issue here. And yeah, okay, Perfect. So copy layout tests. We want to put some styles in here. Let's look at the switch test. Really the only thing we want from that is that. So we will create a new file called copy layout test.sass. And let's just do a test. Background color red. Oh, it's not going to work because we're not including anything here. So, oh no, we shouldn't need to, because it should be, yeah, it should be in here. I really don't like not including the styles directly, but this is just, a test environment. This isn't a live website. Okay, so actually I do want to go back in here and just make sure there's nothing else we're missing. I think we do want the background color and the font family on this. And I'm pretty sure there's not anything else that I really want for the test. Okay, so that should be fine. This should be fine. I don't need this. And now we have our test set up. Okay, so now we're going to, what we want is we want to have an element. So we're going to have like a blue element. So I'm going to just say div class blue, and we're going to have a green element. And the green element is going to be like off in the corner and it's going to be small. And then the blue element is going to be in the top left of the page and it's going to be like a decent size. And when I click on the blue element, I'm going, what we want to happen is for the green element to appear in front of it and have, and be the same size and shape. And I guess what we could do is have the green element be like opacity 50%, just so we can see that it matches up exactly. Okay, so we have blue and green. Blue and green, and green, I guess it's going to be in the bottom left because I don't want to make it have a right position because our copy library doesn't handle that case, because it'll leave the right attribute on. Okay, so we're going to say like top 400 pixels, or maybe like 600. Left, it can be like 300 pixels. Position, absolute. Width is going to be like 100 pixels. Height is going to be 100 pixels. So that's pretty small. And then the background color. Let's actually like find like awesome CSS gradients. Okay. And then, that's not what I want. Show all gradients. So for green, we want something, I don't know. It's not my favorite. This is a good one, I think. Okay. I don't know. Green can be this one. It's not exactly green, but that's fine. Okay, and then Blue can be, I kind of like that one. But we'll do this, I guess, or this is the fun part, right? So take as long as we want on that one. Okay, and we'll do this. So this is our main one. We want this to be like 100 pixels from the top, 100 pixels from the right. We'll make it like width of 500 and a height of 200. And let's see what happens with that. So yeah, now we have these two. They actually don't look that different. Maybe we try to, geez. I mean, maybe we just have like another one for this one. Well, let's change this to sunset and this to like sky. Okay, so this is now called sky and this is called sunset. It's more semantic naming and it doesn't work. Okay, there we go. So now we want, oh, there's one other thing I want from the switch test, which is the box shadow. Oh, don't need semicolons there. Okay, so yeah, so now they pop a tiny bit. Okay, so I guess the thing I kind of want to see is the transition. So let's say like all and then like, I don't know, 1 second, right? Okay, so now we really don't need to have any code in the copy layout tests. All we need is the copy layout and the switch library, which is going to be up a level and inside of switch, and then switch, and we don't need to actually have JavaScript on the end of any of these. Copy, oh well, sorry. Okay, so, okay, so now we have the switch library and the copy layout library. And what we want to do is on sky, we want to say, okay, data. Oh wait, do we even need switch? Oh, I guess we could use it for visibility, but we don't really need it actually. I'm sorry. I thought it might help, but it doesn't really help. So, okay, sorry about that. Okay, so we're going to do data, copy, layout, and the first is going to be the selector that we want to copy onto. So that's going to be sunset. And then we want the offset, which is 0 and 0. And then we want whether we're copying the width, height, or both. So we'll say both. And then we want the alternate selector to copy the height and the width onto. So let's try this first and see if this works. Oh geez. I think we're getting an error probably. Nope. Huh, okay, so we're not getting anything. I guess that's a bad sign or a good sign, depending on how you look at it. Mostly a bad sign. Okay, so let's just make sure this is doing something. Okay, so that's good. Our event listener is working. And let's see what the current target is. It's sky. And we have, okay. Let's see. I guess we could just put a debugger here and take a tour of our program. Okay, so the source element, like we thought, is sky. Now if we continue down here, we have the list. Okay. So that's unfortunate. So that this is not working, just like right off the bat. Okay. Let's put a debugger here. Jeez. And let's delete this. And let's refresh. Let's click. Source element. Yeah. Oh, I don't know why. I left the accumulator. Did I leave the accumulator there? Where is this from? Look up parser. Oh, sorry, down here. Yeah, so I left the accumulator in there back, from when it used to be a reduce function. Okay, so if I click again, we get the parser. Okay, let's continue. Okay, it didn't work. Okay, so let's get the parser. Name both parser, we have the parse function, and the selector is data copy layout. So this is the one that should match. Okay, so that, well, obviously that's true because we just went through the if. Okay, and then we're going to try to get the element data. And we have the selector. Okay, so this is where we're messing up. So element data should be a single, oh geez, what did I do? So this should be a single object, I thought, but no. I forgot how my parser works. So the parser is supposed to take a bunch of space-separated parameters and subparameters. And what I passed in was a space-separated list of non-repeating parameters. So it completely broke. And yeah, that's my bad. That's totally stupid. Okay, so all we really want okay. So I'm tempted to make like a different make parse function. That's like make simple parse function. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so we're going to have a function, and then it's going to be make simple parse function. And this is going to take the same thing, attribute name and key names, and it's going to return the same thing. So actually, I don't know. We don't need most of this. Okay. Get attribute. If there's no attribute string, what do we want to return? So the end goal of this is to have an object. So in this case, we're going to return an object as the default if there's no attribute string. And then we have parse attribute string, which is like a very fancy thing that removes the spaces, splits them, and then removes and splits again. But for this one, all we need is attribute string dot split on spaces, and we're just gonna get like an array of names. So it's gonna be like this. Okay, or sorry. Why did I have it like this before? So, okay, no, those are the actual values. Okay, so this is going to be like, I don't know, button, sure, or btn, that's like more clearly a class. This is going to be like 100, this is going to be like minus 50, this is going to be like both, and this is going to be like button small. Okay. And then we're going to loop over these, and we're going to map it to our array of values. This is not what we want to do, because, well, okay. Parsed attribute values. So in the first example, we returned a list. So all I want to do here is turn this into an object. So how do I do that? So I don't do a map. I can do a reduce. Or I can just like bring this out here and then return it down here and not return this and have this be a for each. I like the reduce better. Okay. Keeps it all contained. Okay. So we're going to pass in this as the accumulator. And, oh geez, no. Accumulator. Is that a word? Thank you. Okay. Array of values. So no, this is just going to be the value. And then we're going to say accumulator, and then okay, let's look up JS reduce. I mean, the third argument, the third parameter has to be the index. Syntax, accumulator, current value, and current index. Okay. And so we want to say, so let key name equal key names index. And then accumulator key name is going to equal, and we'll just call this current value. Current value. And then that should be it. And then we just like return the accumulator. I'm not sure how I feel about that, but it's okay. Okay, so Um, okay, so this parses multiple repeating parameters with sub parameters, each with possible sub parameters. So I don't know how to say those are the important parts, but those are the important parts. This parses multiple parameters that don't repeat and don't have sub parameters. That's silly. I guess I could just emphasize the don't. Okay, so let's look at this one more time. So we're returning a parse function that's going to take an element. It's going to look for the attribute name that we pass in to the make simple parse function. If it doesn't have that, it's going to return an empty object. And then if it does have that, it's going to parse the attribute values by splitting on an empty space on the in the empty string, and then looping through each of these with a reduce, which I totally remembered to put in there. And the reduce starts with an empty object. It sets the key name equal to the first key name in the array we pass in. It sets the value equal to the first current value, and then it returns the accumulator, and then for the next time around it goes to the next key name, etc., etc. Okay, so this should work now for these. Okay, and now let's see. Let's see what this gives us back. LM data. And refresh. We click. Oh no. Okay, well, what do we get for the LM data anyways? So I don't know why this is in the wrong order. So it's not in the wrong order here, right? And then if I open it, okay. So sunset 0, 0. Oh my god. Did I really? Okay, so where's my HTML? Oh jeez. Okay, so there's no comments here. Sweet. Okay. Okay, so 0, 0, and both. Okay, so let's look at what it's complaining about. Oh, it's because I should be looking for lmdata.offset. Okay, so yeah. Okay, and let's save, refresh, click. Damn it. Okay, target element is not defined. And this is inside of copy dimensions. Okay, so if I go down to copy dimensions, oh, yep. Okay, simple enough. Click. Oh my god, that was so sexy. Did you see that? Boom, 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 boom. That's pretty cool. So in general, you just so you know, you don't want to animate, like you don't want to transition the top and the left and the width and the height, because those, I think, go through the CPU. If you transition opacity and you transition any like transform properties, they go through the graphics card. So it's like the computer, your web browser, hands them off to a totally different processor, and the rest of the page doesn't freeze up. So I don't really know how I could do that here, because I want the width and the height to change without the inner elements being stretched. And it looks pretty smooth to me. It's not, I guess it's probably not like the ideal amount of smooth, but it looks pretty good. And you know what? I'm going to just go on record saying I think it's the browser's fault. Why can't they just hand off the top and the left and the width and the height to the graphics card? I kid. I know this stuff is super complicated, and I really appreciate having such a wonderful browser like Chrome and Firefox to be able to develop in, that have modern web standards. And it's not like 6 or 7 years ago when, there were no such thing as web standards. So yeah, so that's pretty cool. That's pretty neat. I'm really happy with this. Let's try something else. So we have sky and sunset. Let's have one more. And this one this one appears over that. What if we have another one over here, right? And all it does is it gets the same width and the height, but it doesn't change its position. So let's go pick out another color, and we'll decide our name based on that color. Maybe like purple for like, and we can call it like octopus or something. Do we have any octopus like colors here? That pink's kind of nice. Oh, this is a nice like sun color, or like a dying sun. We could call it a dying sun. These all look like planets, right? It's kind of cool. Okay, so, oh, this kind of looks like an octopus, like a neon octopus. Octopus. Okay, and then we'll put our octopus here. Octopus. And we'll give it the box shadow. And we're going to position it absolute, and from the top it's going to be 100 pixels. From the left it's going to be more than 600, so maybe like 700. So there's 100 pixels between them. We could also do 800. And then the width is going to be 100 pixels, and the height is going to be 100 pixels. Okay, that looks good. And Okay, well, let's do this first. Okay, so when I click this, oh geez, it's, okay, yeah. Okay, so we're gonna test this one. Data copy, it's not position, it's dimensions. And the first argument is going to be the selector, so octopus, and the second one is going to be both. Okay. Let's see what's happening. Ooh, it worked. Oh, and we didn't have this transition on it. It ruined everything. Okay. So that's pretty cool. And there's just one more thing I want to test, which is the last argument. So let's find like a nice green, like grass or something. I guess it could be blue. It could be over the water. So the sunset's going to be over the water. So let's have like sunset container, and then div class sunset, and then div class ocean. Okay, so now we have the ocean, and it's like that. And I guess we'll put a transition on that. I don't know if it's going to do anything. And we have the sunset container. And before anything, I just want to like say what it's going to do. So this is going to set the position of sunset container, but it's going to copy the width and the height onto sunset. And so this is going to be the one that has position absolute. It's actually going to have all of this stuff except for this. And we can put a height on this of like 80%. And we'll put a height on this of 20%. And we'll give them both widths of 100%. That seems like it might work. Oh, I'll add this, just in case it does anything. I'm not sure the transition does anything when your width is 100%, but maybe. Okay, so now we have the ocean and the sunset. Looks a little weird. So what we're expecting to happen now is for this to go on top of this, but the top area is the thing that's going to match up to this, and then the ocean is going to hang down below. So that kind of worked. The problem with it is the bottom area didn't expand. And yeah, that's because the parent of this is still going to be super small, I think. Yeah, so the sunset container didn't change its width and height, which is a little annoying. I wish at least it changed its width. I don't think this is really going to affect us. I mean, this is pretty much doing what I want it to. But I'm thinking about, in the case where I use this, maybe I could change. Well, I wonder what happens if I don't set a width and a height on this. I should know what happens here, but I don't. Huh. So I guess it has 0 maybe? Nope. It expands to fit that. Oh, and the the ocean has a height. Yeah, I don't know what's happening there actually. Okay, run away, run away. I don't know what's happening. Okay, I don't know. I don't know what to do in this situation. Do I expand the width? Do I add more height? Do I like give a special option where like I can add more height to the parent thing, to the like the to this target? Because this target is just supposed to be the position, right? I don't know. It's kind of annoying that, yeah. But it works. I mean, it works how we expect. So I'm not really going to complain about it too much. I think, I mean, if I really cared, right, I could also do copy. Oh no, I couldn't. No, because I can't have multiple copy dimensions on it. Oh, okay, but I am using this for the octopus, which I don't really need, you know? The octopus is kind of a buzzkill. So I could just do sunset container, or I could move this to another one, right? But yeah, okay. So let's do that. Boom. So that's kind of cool, right? But not great. Okay, so I'm gonna just put this back to that and leave it like this. Even though this looks a little broken, I'm kind of okay with it. Because I don't think it's going to affect Artisfy too much. Like, I think this pretty much does what I want it to, and if it doesn't, I can go back and edit this library later. So yeah, I think that this test is a success. It does pretty much what I want it to. Okay, so let's say that. So we made, so I think we like fixed copy layout, created this thing, and added copy layout tests. Let's just quickly go through the code. I'm sure I left a console log in there somewhere. I think I did. Let's check. Console debugger, console debugger. It's kind of funny. Okay. So yeah, I think that's good. I think that's good for now. So now we have the copy layout. We're almost there, I swear. We're so close to getting somewhere really, really fun and interesting and starting to build, Artisfy from the ground up using these custom widgets. Let's go to our to-do file and see what's left to do. Oh, and we can get rid of, okay, so let's commit this, push that out. Let's get rid of copy attributes before we go. So if we go into, it's DOM utils, right? This is a Sass file. Okay, so copy attributes can go away. The shift attributes, let's see where those are used. I think, oh shoot, they were used somewhere. Okay, so they're used in the original code, which we're also going to get rid of. And yeah, they're just used here. So I think, yeah, I think they're used. Are they not used in here? No. Okay, so we're going to get rid of the shift attributes. So that can stay, that can stay, that can stay, and that can stay. Okay, and let's go to copy layout original, and let's just say farewell to it, because it had like some pretty verbose syntax, but it served me well. Oh, and I can maybe copy this into our new function as an explanation of what it does. Okay. So copy layout plugin set geez, this is going to be hard to explain actually because we have 3 different things. And I'd rather just explain them from scratch actually. Okay. So this set the position of the target element to the position of the current of the clicked element. And set the width and height of the target element to the position of the clicked element. And we can say optional default to setting the width and height of the target element to a different, or sorry, within a height of a different target element to the I don't know. Optional. Okay. Set the width and height of the target element of a different target element to the dimensions of the clicked element. Okay. And then this is what this does. And this is what this does. Okay, cool. And let's, I don't know, add some more spaces in here so it's easier to read. Okay. Removed unused functions and improved docs. And okay, the original function, just look through it real quick. We got the width string, we got the height string, we see if we should copy the width and should copy the height. We got the offset data, we got the shift data, we changed the offset data by the shift data. We get the target selector, we get the target elements from the target selector, we get the dimensions, data, position, dimensions target. So we get the dimensions target selector and we get the dimensions target element. And then we pass that all in to copy attributes so that it copies all of the, the width and the height, the top and the left, using the offset data onto the target elements. Cool. Okay, so this is done. We will delete, why are both of these selected? Okay, we'll delete this. Removed unused functions, removed unused, removed original copy layout JS, and improved docs. Okay, cool. So that's all for today. The next thing we'll be working on is replacing the old copy layout. So we'll be working in Artisfy. In Artisfy, we'll be replacing the old copy layout and replacing the old widget.js, and then we'll be speccing out the new I/O code. We'll be writing the new I/O code. We'll be test the new I/O code. Okay, let's say spec out the new input code because the output code is pretty much written, and I pretty much like it, so I don't really need to write that up over again. And we're going to test the new input.js code, and then in Artisfy, use the input.js code to set data, use the output.js code to get the data and send it to the server to save. Okay, cool. And I am going to delete all of the to-dos we've done so far. And say cleaned up to-dos. Okay, and this will be ready for us next time. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you need any feedback on your projects or you have any feedback on this project, let me know, and maybe we can work together and make some pretty cool, fun widgets and libraries and code for indie hackers, which is what I am, an independent hacker. Hacker being, a programmer. Okay, well, I will talk to you next time. Bye.